Let's work through this Mathlinks 4.2 assignment. What's 1/3 plus 1/6? You want to find a common denominator. So we're going to make the bottoms, the lowest common denominator is going to be 6. 3 times 2 is 6. So you go 2 times the top 1 becomes 2. So 1/3 is the same thing as 2/6 plus 1/6. When you have the same common denominators, you just copy it over once, and 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 over 6 is not the final simplified answer. You divide top and bottom by 3, and you get 1/2. What's 1/2 minus 2/5? Again, we find a common denominator. The number 10 fits in. The number 10 is the answer for the LCM, lowest common multiple, because 2 fits into 10 and 5 fits into 10. One way of doing these kind of addition, subtracting your questions is simply to multiply the bottoms, the denominators. 2 times 5 is 10, and that works. 2 times 5, use your fingers, 5 is 10. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times what is 10? It's going to be 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So the minus sign stays the same. 5 minus 4 is 1, and then you have over 10 is the final answer. Write an addition statement, then add. So we have something plus something. What we have here is pizza slices. We can see that it takes 2 slices for each quarter. So there's another hidden 2 slices here, here, and here. So how many slices do we have? We have 1 shaded, 2 shaded, 3 shaded. 3 out of 8 slices. Plus, this here is a quarter pizza, 1/4. We're just adding now, and we make the denominator the same. We make it 8. So 4 times 2 is 8. So 2 times 1 is 2. So now we have the bottoms the same. You can just add across. 3 plus 2 is 5. And now we simplified the 2 terms into 1 term. The answer is 5/8. Let's use a number line to show that 2/3 plus 1/12 equals 9/12. So here's a number line. We're given 0 and 1, and we have 12 teeth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is much like inches. 1 inch, and there's 12 little divisions. Whoops, scratch that. What we have here is 1 inch. And this is going to be, half of that is going to be 1/8. There's going to be 8 teeth here. 8 plus 8 is 16th inches. So this is not quite the same. We're subdividing into 12. Okay, this is not your typical ruler, but that's fine. What we have here is 2/3, multiply top and bottom by 4, we get 8/12, and the 1/12 remains the same. So this here is 8 out of 12. If this is a 12 out of 12, which is 1, 8 out of 12 is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we start here. Plus 1 out of 12. 1 out of 12 is just 1 tooth. Plus 1 more jump, that's 1 tooth, is 9/12. So you can see that this left-hand side of the equal sign expression is equal to the right-hand side. So this is actually true. Let's look at number 5 here. This time we're adding 3 terms, 3 fractions. You could multiply the bottoms. 3 times 2 is 6, 6 times 5 is 30, and we have a common denominator here. And what we're going to do here is we're going to figure out how we got from 3 to 30. We multiply by 10. If you're multiplying the bottoms by 10, you also have to multiply the tops by 10. 2 times 10 is 20. How did a 2 become a 30? 2 times 15 is 30. So 15 times 1, the top, is going to be 15. 5 times what is 30? It's going to be 6. So 6 times the top, the numerator, is going to be 18. So now we have an equivalent expression of 3 terms. The bottoms are all the same, so you just copy the bottom over. And 20 plus 15 plus 18 is 53. Just work that out carefully. Okay, so what we have here now is we have some subtraction and addition being mixed up. We have an integer and we have fractions all mixed up. Let's just take a deep breath. And remember that the number 3 is the same thing as 3/1. And again, when you find a common denominator, if you multiply them, you get a 6. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 1 is 3. 1 times 6 becomes 6. 3 times 6 is 18. And then 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. You can see this is kind of similar to the questions we've been doing already. The bottoms are the same. You're going to copy it over. And again, you just copy the tops. 3 plus 18 minus 4. And there's your answer there. This becomes 21 minus 4 is 17. This is right. Okay, we have a challenge question here. It's just bigger. There's more parts, that's all. You can see that you could multiply these, but then the numbers would be ridiculous. If you look carefully, the LCM would be 64. Because 64 fits into 64, 16 fits into 64, all these numbers fit into 64. So how did we go from a 2 to a 64? We multiplied by 32, so you get the top there. How did we go from a 4 to a 64? You multiplied by 16. How did we go from 8 to 64? You multiplied by 8. And then here we multiplied by 4. And here this stays the same. And here we multiplied by 2. So the bottoms are all the same, so we just copy the bottom here, 64, and you add up all the tops. Notice the pattern here. This is 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. It keeps on doubling. And if you just add these up, you're going to get 63 out of 64. So for the last challenge question, we're going to try to find the sum of each row, column, and diagonal, and it's supposed to be 1. There's many ways to get the answer. I'll just try to follow you, help you go through one of these ways. Let's just focus on this one here. Let's try to figure out this question mark here first. So question mark plus 7 over 12 plus 1/4 is equals to 1. So what I'm going to do now is use algebra, and we're going to throw everything over to the right. So this becomes 1 minus 7 over 12, 1 minus 1/4. Remember, when the term goes to the other side of the equal sign, the positive flips and becomes a negative. So what's 1 minus 7 over 12 minus 1/4? You can work it out carefully yourself. Similar to the previous techniques, it should be 1/6. So congratulations, we figured out this one here, check, which is 1/6. So let's just fill it in here. Now let's focus on this one here. So question mark plus 1/6 plus 5/12. So these all added up should be 1. So question mark is going to be 1 minus 1/6 minus 5 over 12. Work out your calculator. It should be 5 over 12. Okay, so now let's work on this one over here. This question mark here. It's going to be, the whole thing is 1 minus 7 over 12 minus 1/3. And similarly, we use similar techniques. The answer should be 1/12. And then we just move down here. It's going to be 1 minus 5 over 12 minus 1/12, which looks right. And it should be 1/2. So just work that out yourself and see if it's right. And then last one is over here. It's going to be 1 minus this guy and this guy. And it should be 1/4. So obviously these questions would take a bit longer for you to work them out individually, but hopefully you can find a common denominator and figure it out. Let's just verify one diagonal. Let's just try this random diagonal here just to make sure this is correct. So what's 1/6 plus 1/3 plus 1/2? Let's make the bottoms the same. I'm assuming the answer should be 1 because the question says the diagonal should be 1 as well. So let's make this all 6. So 1/3 is the same thing as 2/6. And then 1/2 should be 3 over 6. And as you can see, 1 plus 2 plus 3 indeed is going to be 6 over 6, which is 1. So looks like this is the right answer.